Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Today's question was suggested by a viewer. Thanks to Zach for this one. Amy wants to play a Crackle with power for x equals 2 while she controls Hinata Dawncrowned. How much does this cost? Okay, so as a judge, I get questions like this from time to time, and I sort of wonder if they really work good on a channel like mine because they tend to read more like math questions than rules questions. But hey, I'm an engineer, I can do math. A little fun like that can't hurt now and then, right? So I'm going to show you a trick to this sort of question, and it makes it really easy. I won't say idiot-proof because I don't want to say anything disrespectful about all the super creative idiots I know are out there, but at least it should be idiot-resistant. Anytime you want to calculate the cost to cast a spell, you just start with whatever the base cost is, and then you add any cost increasers, and after that you take off any cost reducers. So let's see how that would work with the Crackle with power example. We said that we were casting it with x equals 2, so we'll start off with 3 of those, or 6 generic mana and 2 red. Then, since there's no cost increasers, we'll go straight to applying Hinata's cost reduction, and there are 2 targets for this spell, so it costs 2 less, bringing the total to cast it to 4 generic mana and 2 red mana. See? Simple. I have a feeling that the reason questions like this come up so much is that I just answered sort of the opposite of the question that players are often actually trying to figure out. That is, rather than starting with a specific way to cast the spell and trying to figure out how much mana it costs, most of the time players are starting with how much mana they have available and trying to work out what they can do to cast the spell for the most value given that constraint, which is unfortunately a lot harder of a problem to work out. And you know it doesn't get any easier when there's an opponent or a judge sitting there watching you tapping their foot impatiently. I wish there was some sort of get-rich-quick scheme that I could share that would make this easier, but unfortunately all I can say is, anecdotally, I like to use the greedy algorithm in cases like this. That is, start with the best conceivable way that you could cast this spell, and calculate how much mana that would cost using the relatively straightforward method discussed earlier, and if you have enough mana, great. If not, compare your results to how much mana you actually do have, and adjust your desired way to cast it from there. I find that this usually saves time over staring at the board trying to solve the problem normally, but I concede it isn't really that intuitive. It's just a result of the fact that some problems are inherently easier to solve in one direction rather than the other. If this was a math channel, this is probably where I'd get to start talking about inverse kinematics, or differential equations, or P versus NP, but fortunately for all of you, it's a magic channel, so I'll just close with one more example that you can practice with. Let's say that you wanted to cast a fireball to deal 2 damage to each of 3 targets while you have a Hinata. How much would this be? Okay, so if we want to deal 2 damage to 3 targets, then we need X to be 6 for that to work out, so we'll start out with a spell that costs 6 generic mana and a red. Then the cost increase from Fireball will make it cost 2 more, then the cost reduction from Hinata will make it cost 3 less. So we end up with a total of 5 generic mana and 1 red. Fortunately for judges, we aren't really supposed to help players out with the hard version of this problem, figuring out how to cast a spell for the most value given a certain amount of mana. Just like we shouldn't help a Storm or Lotus Field player find the best lines with those decks, for example. Hopefully, the stuff that I was able to tell you about how to work this sort of questions will help you out the next time that you find yourself in a situation like this. But that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again next time for another daily ruling, but until then, I hope you have a great day.